So Ed Boon has been on this Ask Me Anything kick on Twitter, trying to, I guess, have more involvement with his fans and get better communication. And he's asked questions or allowed fans to ask questions specifically about Mortal Kombat, anything NetherRealm Studios. But then he kind of went, a little bit further than that and let fans ask him just anything, ask me anything. And some interesting things came out of those tweets, and specifically one that might have teased Mortal Kombat 13. Let's get to it. So let's start off, let's kind of back up a little bit and let's talk about some of the tweets that we've gotten so far that kind of process of elimination, count out what we would love to see from NetherRealm Studios and Ed Boon and company, and what we could probably get kind of leading up to this kind of randomness of announcements and teases. So we have one where a fan has asked him, specifically the NetherRealm Leaks Reddit account says, an update, so no Injustice 3 or Marvel versus DC from NetherRealm Studios. And someone has kind of replied to that and has said, can you say anything right now about Marvel versus DC? And he said, I would love to work on that. Does that count? So we know in the past that Ed Boon has been pretty open about how he would love to have a Marvel game, Marvel versus DC. We thought that this was going to be one of the games in a leak that was going to come out from NetherRealm Studios. Probably never going to happen because of licensing things, but we know that he would love to work on that. So given the opportunity, maybe he eventually will. Other tweets that have come about, like I said, guys, this is going to kind of go through the list because these are some ones I kind of picked and choose, but there are some very interesting tweets in here. And one of them specifically about Injustice 3. It says, yes or no, are you working on Injustice 3? And he just basically submits, responds with a GIF of like a flat, like a blip machine, EKG machine. This is kind of flat lines, which just means not going to happen right now. We know this to kind of be true with the previous video that I've done about the Mortal Kombat 12 being postponed, and I went in great detail about the NBC Universal merger and how, in the article with David Haddad, the head of WB Games, he listed all these games, but no NetherRealm Studios projects, and I do not believe that Injustice 3 would be included in that at the moment. I kind of think that if Black Adam and Dwayne Johnson kind of factor more and more into the picture, that could possibly change. So another question has come up about the remasters, because we expected maybe for the 30th anniversary that we get a remaster announcement of some kind, possibly of the original three, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, maybe even like a 9, 10, and 11. But a fan out there asked, will you ever make older Mortal Kombat games like, say, Deadly Alliance or Deception? And he says, can you believe Deadly Alliance is 20 years old now? I suppose enough time has passed. So I think if we're going to get some type of remaster, already on his radar, it's going to be something from Deadly Alliance or maybe some of that 3D era, which fans out there really want. So maybe we'll get that. Continuing on with this kind of Twitter question rant, he says, is there any chance that a Mortal Kombat character could show up in Multiversus? This question came up a lot. And he says, that would be dangerous for me to answer. So I've covered on this channel multiple times how Mortal Kombat characters, specifically Scorpion and Sub-Zero, could make a presence in Multiversus. So it's obvious that while he may be saying he doesn't know an answer to that, I'm pretty sure because they're under the same sister umbrella of Warner Brothers Games, they could probably make an appearance. I think just like in that same article from Axios that David Haddad was talking about, the successful games thus far, including Multiversus, he talked about how the strategy to that would be to use the IPs that Warner Brothers has to strengthen the roster for that game. So I know Mortal Kombat has come up in the conversation probably more than once. He does discuss the length of Mortal Kombat 11 and if that were to have continued. He says, question was asked, was Mortal Kombat 11 supposed to have more characters before moving on to the next project? Was the roster supposed to look like a perfect square? In many leaks and even data mines from even like at the Thinny, we talked about how it wasn't supposed to be such a weird shape, it was supposed to be like a perfect square, and we thought that was the number of count of people that were going to be in the game. He says, good question. Mortal Kombat 11 had our longest post-launch content, and we certainly could have continued with the K, of course, with more fighters, but it was time to move on to the next game. So I think that was probably at the behest of probably AT&T when they were getting ready to sell Warner Brothers to Warner Brothers Discovery, and then stuff going on right now. So that's probably why we did not get, kind of like an abrupt cut after Aftermath for it to be done. Another question I thought was pretty cool, and this kind of feeds into the remaster of Deadly Alliance. A question was asked, will Chameleon and Havik ever return? And he posted a GIF of, I forget the comedian's name, but he's shaking an 8-ball and he says, signs point to yes. So we know, given what he said in the past, Havik has been one of those characters that fans have been wanting for a long time to return. He's been teased in an ending, I think the Joker's ending in Mortal Kombat 11. So give us what we want. He's just been in a game and a comic, so let's get him more into the remastered versions of these games. Another question was asked about, will we expect a game announcement soon? That's been a question on a lot of people's minds. That's what we want from NetherRealm Studios. Give us more information about when something is coming out. We obviously know that we did not get anything for the 30th anniversary, but Ed's response was, what do you mean by soon? If you mean within a week, because at the time this was kind of around that time, then no, we won't be announcing anything soon. Uh, I've already talked about in a previous video why we may not get anything at the moment. I think there's going to be a minimum of time, but who knows? Maybe we'll get something like a tease or something. Maybe they'll give us like a still of something that they're working on, like a logo. So at least we know that something's coming. I don't know, something like that. Another interesting question that was asked, I thought was pretty cool, is how would you feel about doing a fighting game based on horror movie characters? And he responded, I'd love to do that. I think that'd be very interesting. The number of horror movie guests that have been inserted into the Mortal Kombat franchise. I think it'd be cool to see that kind of be like a spin-off game of the franchise, like like the zombies of Call of Duty kind of thing. It'd be kind of cool to kind of have that like a side game where if they have enough characters, heck, it could be a standalone game. I think it'd be pretty successful. So another question that was asked, which we kind of already know, but it was confirmed, was, are y'all working on multiple projects or just one? And Edmund's response was multiple, which is very, very interesting because we can either feel like it's Mortal Kombat 12 and a remaster, maybe Deadly Alliance. People think it's Mortal Kombat 12 and Injustice, or Mortal Kombat 12 and a completely different project that we weren't expecting. Again, it's kind of all up in the air, but it'd be kind of interesting to see if, he's just playing around with this or if he's being truthful. Kind of tying into the part about Mortal Kombat 11 being abruptly ended, no continuation. A user asked, what happened to Ash Williams in Mortal Kombat 11? Because in multiple leaks that I covered, Ash Williams, we thought, based off of Bruce Campbell and some other voice actors, we thought that Ash Williams was coming to Mortal Kombat 11. We knew that possibly some licensing issues had come up. We know that the Evil Dead game that was in development and was going to be released soon might have also been, kind of thrown a wrench in that idea. But Ed responded with, that's a long story that I will try to get the okay to share with you all one day. For now, all I can say is, Ash Williams? What are you talking about? He's not in Mortal Kombat 11. I don't know. So very interesting response from him because he obviously knows something. He knows the tea, but he doesn't want to share, can't share at the moment. That kind of puts to rest finally that we will not see Ash Williams in Mortal Kombat. Okay, so finally we come to the question that we're asking about is the Mortal Kombat 13 tease. And I'm like thinking, why would you say this? But again, he says, ask me stuff, volume 6, the 6th time he's had this round. And this user says, hi Ed, when is Mortal Kombat 13? Just curious, a curious look. And he responds, Friday, March 13th, 2026. Friday, March 13th, 2026. Now, I don't believe this, right? You're like, good one, Ed. That's a good one. I don't believe that that's the date that Mortal Kombat 13 is going to release. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know why Ed would do that, though. So, kind of going through, again, the history of Mortal Kombat games thus far, going at least back to Mortal Kombat 10. We know Mortal Kombat 10 came out in April of 2015, and then we got 4 years later, Mortal Kombat 11 in April of 2019. So if we're in 2022, no Mortal Kombat game is going to come out right now. We know that an announcement probably will come next year. I don't think a release will happen next year. I could be wrong again, but let's say we stick to the 2024 timeframe. We say that it comes out either around the time of launch, or I'm sorry, around the time of the merger of the NBC Universal, or it comes out in fall of 2024. It kind of changes up the time frame a little bit. That would only leave less than 2 years in between the games. So unless Mortal Kombat 13 is going to be like a Mortal Kombat 12 and a half, which I don't think they're going to do that. I don't know that we're going to get that on that date. Or maybe NetherRealm Studios is going to pull an Apple or Samsung. They both did it, I guess. Maybe they'll skip Mortal Kombat 12. Maybe they'll skip it. That's an interesting thought, right? What if they skipped Mortal Kombat 11 and just went straight to 13? It's interesting that he says it's going to be on Friday the 13th, right? Friday, March 13th, 2026. Interesting. What if he skips it? That'd be very, very cool, I guess. I mean, that's a long time to wait, though. 2026? I mean, that game would have to be, I mean, high expectations, right? I mean, you've made us wait that long. I mean, but has it really been that long? I mean, we waited 4 years, right? From 2015 to 2019. And now you're going to kind of push us again to the 4-year time frame. It comes out in spring, which is, again, the same pattern. So I don't know. Is it really out of the realm of possibility? Maybe that's not so much Mortal Kombat 13. Maybe that's Mortal Kombat 12. Well, that's the Mortal Kombat 12 release date. Maybe that's what it is. He's just kind of throwing us off with the Mortal Kombat 13 thing. Interesting stuff. Interesting. So yeah, that is the tease we got for Mortal Kombat 13. Make of it what you will. I don't think it really means anything. I mean, I don't know why he would put that in a tweet. I guarantee you the way he's can't say and do other things, he's just throwing out stuff just to, please us in the moment. So obviously take it with a grain of salt, but we'll come back to this later on in case something does kind of come of this. But for now, he's just trolling us. But what do you think about this date? Do you think it has any meaning to it? Should we believe it? What are your thoughts? Let me hear down in the comments down below. That's it for this video, guys. Don't do that like button. For more dislikes, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time on the Mashup.